Have you ever lived in a building with thin walls? You hear everything your neighbors do, from stomping feet to bedroom noises. Even when you try to ignore it, it can become a nuisance, probably causing you to lose sleep, become irritable, and sometimes even seek retribution. But what would you do if it happened to you in your home, alone in the middle of a dense forest? Welcome back to the library down the hidden staircase. Our story today is about thin walls, but between possible other worlds and not so shoddy construction in an apartment building. The Black Forest of Colorado is a lush pine woodland that stretches for miles. It is filled with abundant wildlife and makes a beautiful home for anyone who wishes to live among nature. Or so you'd think. Stephen and Beth Lee fell in love in the Black Forest and decided to buy a home there in 1990 for themselves and their children. Hoping to raise a family in the wilderness and enjoy the peace and calm that usually accompanies it, they purchased a beautiful 2-story log cabin there and quickly learned that they had made a mistake. When they moved in, they were filled with excitement and hope. They had all wandered around the house, opening doors and picking out bedrooms, unaware of another doorway that was open but unseen. A doorway to another time and space. One where there is no lock, and those who lived in it could cross and meet their new neighbors. Some believe that time is an illusion, that everything that has happened, is happening, or will happen is occurring all at once. The only thing separating them is a thin wall or veil. There are even certain areas in our world that act as doorways. The house that the Lees moved into is one of them. Within a week of moving in, the 2 boys of the family started to see strange lights and shadows in their room. They told their parents about it, but they didn't believe them, thinking that it was just their imagination and nerves about living in their new home. Several days after, their sons told them about the lights and shadows. Beth and Stephen began to experience the same thing in their room, followed by a strong chemical odor that caused the family's eyes and throats to burn. There would also be loud footsteps that sounded like they were coming from the roof. The family said it sounded like a dance party was happening atop the house. They suspected that the lights and footsteps were hallucinations caused by whatever the chemical was, and they had the home inspected, believing it to be a gas leak somewhere. Then, in an attempt to rationalize further, they believed that someone was attempting to scare them away from their property. Possibly someone seeking the home and property, or even a company wishing to commercialize the area. Anything to make sense of what was happening to them. Stephen then installed cameras around both the inside and outside of the home, hoping to capture who was terrorizing him and his family. But it only left them with more confusion and questions. After a few days, he looked at the footage, and what he saw led him to believe the source was paranormal. The cameras caught the light streaks and shadow figures. He also saw ghostly faces and figures that would appear and disappear throughout the home. It was then that he decided to seek help from psychics who had more experience in what was happening to them. Sadly, after several months and 2 psychics, the Lee family's fears were worsened. All of the sensitives that had come to the home said the same thing. The Black Forest home was a portal between our physical universe and a spiritual one, stating that the strongest rift was in the master bedroom, especially near an antique mirror located in the room. Mirrors, in general, at least in folklore, are themselves doorways to spiritual realms, giving access to spirits or demons to enter our world. They also have the ability to attract negative energy. Antique mirrors especially, due to them being made out of silver poured over glass. Some cultures will even cover mirrors at night and never have a mirror facing a bed for such reasons. Even further, Appalachian and Judean customs call for covering of all mirrors when someone dies, to prevent their soul from being trapped inside them. Having somebody who cared and actually listened to me made a world of a difference, especially when things got hard. But I will say it was hard to figure out how to get a therapist in the first place. Talkspace makes it easy to find a therapist you like. It's convenient to meet online, at home, or wherever you're most comfortable. Do you think that seeing a therapist or a psychiatrist would be helpful for you, but you don't actually have the time to find one, or meet with one, or even afford them? Try Talkspace. By doing everything online, Talkspace has made getting the help you want easy, accessible, and affordable. When you've met your therapy goals or simply want to cancel, Talkspace has an easy cancellation process and will do the work to get you a prorated refund for unused time if applicable. Sometimes people want to wait until bad things happen to talk to a therapist. But why wait? You can get a therapist through Talkspace. Therapy can help you shift your perspective, find tools to cope in difficult times, and be a guiding light. Getting started is the important part. Talkspace makes it easy and affordable. At Talkspace.com, you can sign up online and get a personalized match with a provider that's right for you, typically within 48 hours. There's no need to commute to appointments, miss time at work, or line up childcare in order to attend sessions. It's mental health care made easy. Talkspace is secure and private, using the latest end-to-end bank-grade encryption technology to store client information and complying with the latest HIPAA regulations. As a listener of this podcast, you will get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/hidden. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/hidden to get $80 off your first month and show support for the show. That's Talkspace.com/hidden. The family was still seeking answers and called in a shaman to help decipher what was occurring. He claimed that the area was a rainbow vortex, which is like a whirlwind of condensed spiritual energy. Agreeing with the psychics that the family was indeed seeing things that were not from this world. Today, the home is guarded by security cameras, but for thrill-seeking trespassers more than otherworldly visitors. Doors still open and close, the light shows are still going on, and the disappearing faces and bodies are all still coming to visit. The most common takes the form of an elderly woman, a young girl, a large man, as well as a flying dog. The Lees still remain there and have become accustomed to the visits. What started off as terrifying has now become normal for them. Throughout the years, the hauntings have remained steadfast, but nothing has been nefarious towards anyone, only harrowing. So, the next time you can hear your neighbors through your thin walls, consider yourself lucky. You know that at some point it will stop. Unlike the Black Forest home and their otherworldly neighbors.